piano's, well, no, it's in frame. It's in frame enough. Good morning, Maddie. Good morning, Cyber. Wow. Shaking the rest off, huh? We're gonna start with flight plan. Wow, Lindsay's really early today. Good morning, Lindsay. Stream? Chat? Morning medleys? Medley heads? Do you guys like English muffins? Hi, Bacon Boy. Cyber likes them. Oh, I can tell there's gonna be some flies in here today. Hi, Picnic. Something I figured recently. I had actually, I mean, other than the English muffins that they sell at McDonald's, I had actually never eaten an English muffin until I went to England. Like I had never had like an English muffin without like, McDonald's fixings in the middle of it, which I don't know after having a true English muffin if I would consider the stuff that McDonald's sells an English muffin, but I haven't had an English muffin now in years, and I saw them on the rack in the store because they're always next to the bagels, and usually I buy bagels. But they were out of bagels, and I thought about getting an English muffin, but something about preparing it at home myself sounded complicated. I know that sounds stupid because it's arguably no more complicated than a bagel is, but you toast yours, right, Cyber? Are the ones that they sell at McDonald's toasted? Butter or egg? I'm just looking for suggestions, Smitty. toast it, but then adds whatever pizza sauce you want. If you toast and then adds cheese on top. Interesting. English muffin pizza. I usually go plain, Lindsay. I usually go plain with most breads, actually. As plain as I can get, as far as like having stuff in them, like raisins or whatever, or cinnamon. Because I usually add things to whatever bread I'm making, you know. I'll make a sandwich out of it or some type of combination, and I don't want to overcomplicate that. For example, when I have bagels, I'll usually make like a variety of different types of bagels. I'll make like savory bagels today. Maybe tomorrow I'll have something sweet on them. Maybe have cream cheese on them. And if I get like blueberry bagels, it becomes hard for me to make like a ham and cheese sandwich with a blueberry bagel. So usually, if I'm gonna buy bread, I always kind of go for plain, unless I'm gonna be okay with having essentially the same type of meal with it for the entire loaf or bag or whatever. Um, for how bad my country is, English muffins. Word up in England. You know what I like in England that's not an English muffin? I really like crumpets, which is a thing that I didn't know I would like. Crumpets? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was staying with a friend in Leicester, and she made me crumpets a few mornings in a row. And a crumpet was something I'd only ever heard of in like old, you know, children's rhymes and like stories. I never actually eaten one myself. It was so sad to see those go when I came back. Um, basically used to eat oatmeal when my mom would cook me breakfast. My mom wouldn't want me to eat cereal, so she would always make hot cereal or oatmeal and like cream of wheat and stuff like that. And I liked it, but then by the time I started learning how to prepare my own meals, I preferred like more hearty things, you know, like pancakes, biscuits, and bacon and eggs and stuff like that. Um, so I've never actually prepared my own. Well, no, that's a lie. I did prepare my own oatmeal once, and it was disgusting. I didn't like it, and I couldn't tell if this was because I just didn't know how to make it the way my mom did, or if it was because I just didn't like oatmeal anymore. So I never really tried to pass that. I was kind of envious of people that would eat oatmeal though, because it seemed like a healthy alternative. Anywho, I didn't see that Kid James asked me how my day was. Thank you, Kid James. Sometimes I assume that people are wrapped up in their own like social storm in the chat, and so I can like black out from it sometimes. But thank you for asking, Kid. I'm doing okay today. Yesterday I started back working on a project, so I'm probably going to be spending most of today doing that. But you know, I did my workout already this morning. I haven't eaten anything yet. The weather's decent outside. All things considered, I feel good. I feel good. How do you feel today, Kid James? Are you doing all right? Hello, Gatornade. Gatornade also asks how I've been. I've been doing okay. Gatornade. I'm good today, but if we're taking like an overall average, you know, there's been some bumps in there. Gatornade has a question though. Gatornade says, odd question. But how are you doing on the song Talkbox? I know it's not the official name. I just don't know what else to call it. I need that bass line in my life. Oh. How am I doing on it? I mean, it's still in like a whirlwind of production. I haven't even worked on it the past few days. I've been kind of working on other projects, Gatornade, but it's still, you know, going to happen, I suppose is the best thing I can say about it. But I'm not like releasing any, you know, or I'm not announcing any release dates, especially for things that are still in production. But I feel good about that song. I still like it. I haven't grown to hate it like I do some of my works in progress. No, I didn't, Cyber. I didn't do the Easter egg because I was playing with 2 players and like the screen got stuck, so it wouldn't let me go. But I'm gonna play it again on 1 player and do it. I'm also gonna play it again on 1 player just to get the other endings. All things considered, good game. I do enjoy the game. Painting sheets of glass lately. Oh, that's kind of cool. I want to see what that looks like. I don't know what that looks like. I hate all my webs and it stops me from finishing mostly. Yeah, same. I would say that I hate or at least lose love for at least 70% of my works in progress, sorry, but I don't usually share all of my stuff, so most of the stuff I end up hating, you guys don't get to hear anyway, so it kind of works out. People usually don't end up asking when a release is coming for a song I don't particularly enjoy. Word. That's understandable. Sorry to hear about the downs, but it's good to see you're productive during these times. I fall into bad habits with gaming after work. I feel like that's kind of like my roommate. I feel like I see my roommate game a lot more than I do, which is like funny because it's my PS4 and like I feel like they play more than I do. I'm usually working on stuff, like music or videos. Speaking of music and videos, today is Wednesday, right? Yes, it is Wednesday, which means yesterday was Quarantunes. Yesterday I put up a new entry in the Quarantune series, the 6th one. when moving a song from one key to another, um, I mean, I guess it would help to know, the names of the keys and their placements and stuff like that. But when moving a song from one key to another, I feel like it doesn't matter what key you're moving it to. Once you've made that choice, it just becomes the song. I'm like, I'm under the belief that like if you do something with confidence, or if you do something, you decide to go a specific way, like you make the path and it becomes the song. If you decide that you want to go from the song being really fast to really slow, it might seem jarring at the very beginning, but if somebody hears that as a second party, they're just going to assume that's just the way the song goes. And I think that there's like a lot of songs, there's like a lot of Disney songs, or not so much pop songs, not now, but maybe pop songs in like the 70s and 80s. There's a lot of pop songs that do that thing where like for the last chorus or for the last hook, they go up. They'll like change the key to go up. And the what's the word I want to use? The space at which they're making the key be moved higher does affect something. Like there's like Disney does it the same way in a lot of their songs where they'll go. I don't know exactly how high up it is, if it's like 2 keys higher or 3 keys higher, but it's the same. Whatever spacing it is, it's consistent. And I think I've done that in a few songs. I do it in again, this song is unnamed. I go from basically here to here, which is moving all the notes just up once. Like, so if this is a key, then I'm moving it up 1 key, or I don't know. I'm probably not using the correct terminology. But yeah, transposing things up. I've done it up 1 like that, but then also in the song Double Let's, going from here, when I move that up to here, for the last chorus or hook or whatever you want to call it, I'm moving it up by a greater degree than I did to the first one. The first one was just 1 key, and this one is like 2 keys up. Again, I'm sorry, I'm probably using the wrong terms. 2 keys up. And for the song French Lavender, I know it's already technically released and it has its own YouTube form, but I don't have to stick to that. And I wanted to have it go from I wanted to have it go up a key or a few, and I don't want to do the same thing that I did with the unnamed track, which would have been it would go from here to here. Ooh, which sounds beautiful, actually. Oof, that's hard. I do like that, but I don't want to do that because it's something I've already done before. So I thought about taking it from to this. But I don't want to do that either because that's what I do for double Lutz. And so I thought about taking it up even higher. So it would go. But I can't figure out which one to rest on. I don't know which one, I don't know, is the most impactful. And it's hard because every time I do one, I hear the merits within it. I don't know if anybody else has this as like an artist, but they just don't have a preference in their own art. Like, they'll do something one way and they're like, oh, let me try it a different way, and then they'll do it a different way. And you almost have to go to an unbiased third party and like show them the two and go like, which one do you like more and why? And I was messing around with that yesterday, 2 days ago. I was messing around with Key Lime, because Key Lime is a song that I've played so many times that I can like play it in my sleep. And I was like, what does Key Lime sound like? What does it sound like if I played it lower? Like, hello Tiz, welcome to the stream. Thank you for greeting me, I appreciate that. I could also play it down here. because I mean, you guys can still tell it's those same key lime chords, just played lower. But I tried playing it in a variety of different ways to see like which one stuck. Sorry, that's wrong. Oh, I know why that's wrong. Wait, do there it is. Wow, that's so interesting. Music is so complicated, guys. Play click key lime in a minor key. That's the challenge, says Cyber. I don't even know what key lime is in. Key lime. I don't even know what key that song is in. Is it in a minor key? I mean a major key. I don't know. I'm sorry. It's in a major key. Word up, Cyber. I love that song though. What a marvelous song. I don't know how to stay within a key, usually. It's pulling major, but there's a bit of dissonance in it, says Ava. Thank you, Ava. Dissonance makes me feel good. Dissonance makes me feel good. It makes me feel powerful. I don't know exactly what dissonance is. Could I define it? Not really, but I know that that's it. That has it. And that's the first chord in. Well, technically, that's the first chord in Old Enough, the quarantine from yesterday. Remember that? I didn't talk about it much on the stream. I don't know how promptly people watch the quarantines, but I did upload a new song and video yesterday, as is my routine. Every Tuesday, I put out a new thing. Yesterday's was called Old Enough, and the first chord from it was that chord. The chord that I was referring to as a K-pop chord. I mean, K-drama chord. Definitely not a K-pop chord. That is like a K-drama chord. When I play it with piano, anyway, the piano sound. And I was trying to work that into a chord progression. I still need to work this one into I would like to work that one into a chord progression. Arguably, all of my chords are K-pop chords because K-pop chords are just jazz chords. And if I were to play my little like weird descending chord progression, I could easily see that in the K-pop like that one. I do like that though. Wait, that's also. No. That's in the quarantine from next week. The quarantine from next week has that chord progression. It's like. Wait, right? It's like. And then it goes. I'm gonna reuse a lot of these quarantine things for actual songs, guys. Um, oh, do you remember Dollar Mandy? Are you asking me? If you're asking me, Cyber, I do not remember that. I don't know if I ever knew that, what that is, or who that is. Seems like a who. Sounds like a name. Looks like a name. The last few nights have been weird, says Alpha. I hope weird in a good way. I hope weird in a good way. Okay, okay, we're at 37. I feel like the streams have gotten they're getting exponentially faster. Again, if you're in the stream and you enjoy the stream, if you could please leave a like on the video, I would appreciate that, guys. I would appreciate that a lot. Final. What? What is Liana doing? Liana lost me. Oh, Liana's relating to Cyber. Oh. Oh. What is that? Hold on. What is that? Who are you? Fascinating. Speaking of minor and major things, I'm not great at telling the difference between major and minor. Cyber. Usually, I have to hear both, right? I have to hear both before I can tell whether one's major and one's minor. Um, um, oh, I'm not gonna do an Australian accent, please. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And I read the ending. I read your please in my answer. No, I'm not gonna do an Australian accent. I'm sorry if that's disappointing for you. Um, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm not Australian. And I just don't do accents. I don't like do accents. I'm sorry. It's just not my wheelhouse. I do chords. I barely touch the kitchen because the vibe gets weird when he's in the living room. Oh, I missed the first part of that. I missed a lot of that. Oh, my roommate and her boyfriend are still here. Word up, word up, word up. Have my roommates ever had a boyfriend? Yes. Yes, they have. And they never came over. Oh, I'm so lucky. They never came over. I don't know how you learned that. It feels similar to hearing a guitar piano and knowing the instrument it is. Like, I have no clue what chord you're playing, but I know immediately if it's major or minor, says Ava. Ooh, I mean, that's a cool trick. A trick. Referring to it as a trick is even funnier. But, like, if somebody was like, oh, this chord and this chord, I could tell, like, this one's minor and this one's major. Because I have, um, what's the word? I have, what's the word? Ears? Oh, but this, if somebody just plays this, I don't know necessarily if that's major or minor. I feel like my body would want to say minor just because it sounds weird and not overtly happy and pleasant. But I don't know that to be true. I don't know that it is minor. But there are a lot of chords that pop up in my songs like that. Um, Joe Scribble says, Yo, Omni, found you through Stevie Weeby. Aw, what a good man. What a good man Stevie is. I miss him dearly. I don't really go around his neighborhood anymore. I used to hang around, like, me and Stevie don't live close at all, but Stevie lives, I can't say exactly where he lives, but he lives in an area that I do a lot of hanging. And so he lives, like, pretty close to one of the subway stops that I hang around. So I would often go visit Stevie, but of course in times like these, I can't visit anybody. Get out of my room. Go, 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 shoo. Anywho, yeah. If you talk to Stevie before I do, tell him I says thank you and hello. But thank you for coming all the way over here. They got cats, try to walk into my room, makes me angry. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of cats, because they said no pets allowed. But he is their son. I don't like cats. Not a cat man. Ava says that chord has one note that makes it minor in it, I think. If you took out one, then it'd be major. But it could be all in my head, says Alpha about the cat thing. Lindsay's leaving. Goodbye, Lindsay. I'm glad you got to hear at least a little bit of Vanilla before you left. Um, oh, and thank you, Lindsay, for actually watching the quarantines. I appreciate that. Um, oh, you like just saw them all recently. Word up. Well, thank you for taking the time. I appreciate that. There's six of them, so that's at least 12 minutes out of your day. So thank you. While we're on the subject of quarantines, I do like that chord. Oh, love it. And I don't know what it is again, Ava. I don't know if it's major or minor. Um, hold on, pause. I'm glad that number 4 and 5 put you in a good mood. Number 4 and 5, to anybody who doesn't know the quarantine series, are like the more future funky ones. Um, Cyber says, man, sometimes I eat food and I end up with dripping sinuses or a slight cough, usually because of the heat or spice. I always have a second guess myself to make sure I'm not sick. Um, there's been times where I've eaten something that's extremely spicy and it'll make my nose run, but usually it's if it's like a soup or something like that. But I know it's happening. But it doesn't happen to me as often as it used to. I feel like I just eat too much spicy stuff now. My senses have been deadened. Or numbed, I guess. Being able to tell minor from major doesn't really matter, I think. You find interesting chords regardless. Oh, thanks, Ava. I appreciate that. On the subject of quarantines, every Tuesday I make a song in my room, and make a video to accompany it, and then I upload it onto like YouTube and stuff like that. I used to try to upload as much as I could on Instagram. I don't know if anybody else ever tries to upload videos on Instagram, but it is a nightmare. I mean, it's a nightmare if the video you're trying to upload is over 60 seconds. Because then you either need to break it into a lot of smaller videos, or you need to shoot it in portrait mode so you can upload it to IGTV. It's a whole thing. I wouldn't recommend doing it. I wouldn't recommend getting involved in it. I hate it. And there's a reason why my activity on my Instagram has become less and less orderly. Because I'm not enjoying the space anymore. But I did make a new one yesterday, a new quarantine called Old Enough, and I think that when the quarantine series first started, it was very quarantine themed, you know. Um, oh, word up, Cyber. I don't remember what bass line I was playing. I don't remember what I was playing at all. My hands were just moving while I was talking. But I'm glad you liked it. They definitely started off being quarantine based. Like if you listen to the lyrics in Home Is You, that is a quarantine song. That song's literally about quarantine. It's about, in some indirect way, the pandemic and how we're all trying to deal with it. But then Dreams Come True isn't necessarily a quarantine themed song. But then, right after Dreams Come True is I'm Not Dead, which is not quarantine themed at all. And then the most recent one, Old Enough, yeah, has nothing to do with quarantine. I feel like if anybody gives me a prompt, you know, there's certain people, like certain actors that kind of only have one style of acting, and no matter what the prompt they're given is, like if you give Seth Rogen a prompt, this isn't shots at Seth Rogen. I like Seth Rogen, but if you give Seth Rogen a prompt, kind of no matter what part he's playing or impression he's doing, it's always going to kind of be Seth Rogen's overall character. It's like his whole thing. He kind of has like one dope thing that he does, and he drags it from one thing to another from every film he does, and it's cool. It's great. It's fine. I love it. But I'm saying I tend to do that with lyricism. If somebody gives me a prompt in lyrics, I can only follow that thread so long before my songs just turn into breakup songs, and I don't know why that is. I think that I'm not alone in that. I think there's a lot of lyricists that kind of fall into that same weird chasm. It's just really easy to write about it's really easy to write about upsetting things. It's really easy to write about being upset or sad. A lot easier, I would say, than it is to write about being happy. Like, I can be happy and write a sad song. I can be sad and write a sad song. I can't be sad and write a happy song. So, it's easier to write a sad song. And because of that, usually if I'm going to be writing for any extent of time, I'll generally go sad. And I guess one of the saddest reoccurring things in people's life that's relatable is breakups. I feel like, I'm trying to think of the best way to word this. I think breakups are special in that there's a lot of really sad things that happen to us on a day-to-day level, and there's like small things like, oh, my car broke down, or oh, I got fired from my job. Oh, that seems kind of serious. Sorry. So there's like, oh, my car broke down, or I don't know, I'm balding, or I had to drop out of school because I could no longer afford tuition. These are kind of like specific woes, I guess, that people have. And then there's like really big sad things like, oh, my friend was shot by the police, or my favorite uncle has now passed. Unfortunately, his life was taken. Something like really sad, right? That might not necessarily want to write a song about, or not at least an entire song, maybe like a bar in it refers to that, but writing an entire song about it is kind of heavy. People might not enjoy listening to that song because it's like, oh, this is like, it's too heavy, it's too much. But then there are the smaller things like, um, my best friend is being annoying now, or my favorite restaurant closed, that are almost seen as too. They're almost seen as too. Sorry, they're almost seen as too like small and shallow of a thing to really write a song about. So I feel like breakups are this really weird thing. They're like a special case thing where you can write a song about it and people can go through the motions with you and go like, ah, yeah, I know that feeling. That's also a thing that was very devastating to me at the time. But it's not so heavy, the song unenjoyable. If anything, you're able to kind of like, oh, so you heard it too, Maddie? It's it's a kid. It's a kid. It's not an actual siren. There's like a little girl downstairs that the cops came a while ago to the cul-de-sac for reasons I can't disclose. And I think she just heard the sirens, and now she's like doing a whole thing. She's like very impressionable. Anywho, oh, goodbye, Enigma. Thank you for being on the stream. Point is, I think that breakups are kind of like in this very, very sweet spot of sorrow that people enjoy kind of crowding around and not enjoying, but like commiserating together and can actually enjoy the commiseration. And a lot of other things that are heartbreaking or disappointing in life don't really share this quality, and I don't know why that is. Not exactly sure why that is. But yeah, all of my songs are breakup songs for the most part. I would say like 80 to 90% of the songs that I'm singing on are usually going to be about breakups or in some extent depression or something like that. Usually with like a fun beat at least, something you can dance to. And the most recent song, Old Enough, is it's about a relationship, but I don't know the best, like, I don't know the best bullet point to say what that song's about. It's not even necessarily about a breakup. But I feel like the lyrics are pretty straightforward. And even if you can't understand what I'm saying, I have text pop up on the screen to tell you what I'm saying. Sorry, guys. Went off on a little bit of a tangent there. I love sad music, says Ava. Maybe I'm a masochist? No, I don't think that makes you a masochist. I think that like I said, I think something about sad music. I think sad music is just as I don't want to know say maybe just as it depends on the person, but it probably gives off the same feeling of talking about your problems to people. Like you can't afford therapy, you don't have any friends, just keep listening to sad music, and it kind of like you can maybe even mentally like work through problems or just relate to the song. Something that's cool. Like I can relate to a song about somebody being dumped or rejected a lot more than I can relate to a song about people like in a club drinking and having the time of their life. Not necessarily because I've never been in a club having the time of my life, but I don't know. It's just easier to relate to the sorrow for some reason. I like songs about being infatuated. Those tend to get stuck on my head. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I hate those songs. I'm joking. I've written those songs. Right? Have I ever written a song about being... No, that's a breakup song. Um... Oh, The View. My most recent release is about being infatuated with somebody. Oh, thank you, Leanna. You brought us here. You brought us full circle. Um, yeah. I have one song about being infatuated, and it just happens to be my most recent song. But it isn't the most recent song I made. That song is quite old. I haven't been truly infatuated with anybody in a very long time. People are pretty, people are pretty, huh? I love that chord so much. You know what's weird, Liana? I did write the lyrics to that song. I didn't sing that song, obviously. Obviously, I wasn't the voice on that song because I wasn't singing on my own stuff yet. But I did write the lyrics to that song. And that song is the most nothing. I farted out those lyrics. They weren't about anything or anyone. I. That is one of the fakest songs I've ever made. I'm not hating on the song, but it is one of the fakest. Hello, Oni-chan. It was the fakest song I've ever made. That song meant nothing. That song was high fructose corn syrup in lyrical form. I think that quite a few songs on the Love Dream EP were that. Like Magic Girl is absolutely nothing. Uh, Your Eyes, nothing. Um, Now the song with Ehi and Space Girl Jimmy, that was something. That was something. But everything else was trash. I can't say that. There's other people on that EP. I'm not saying those artists are trash. I'm just saying everything I did there was fake and it was whack. And I had no feelings for anyone, but I was trying to write love songs while having no love in my life. And that's what it sounded like. That is what loveless love sounds like, guys. But yeah, Your Eyes. I actually forgot about that song. Um, I'm trying to think of something else. Did you speed up those lyrics, said Alpha? I love Catch Your Fire. No, I didn't speed up those lyrics. I just made a very fast song. Again, you have to remember, Alpha, I was not a vocalist back then. So when I made a song for somebody else, I didn't care about how realistically they could sing it, if that makes sense. Like, I wasn't like, oh, is this in your range, or is this even slow enough for you to rap on? I would just make songs and give them to people because I was stupid and I had a lot to learn. So I just made a very fast song. And I feel comfortable being transparent with that. It took Jimmy quite a few takes to be able to rap that fast. And I, at the time, should have been like, oh, let me slow down the song. I'm an idiot. But at the time, I was just kind of like, oh, well, I mean, okay. Let me know if you ever get it, under wraps. What an awful relationship. What an awful relationship I had with vocalists back then. I would like to send out a blanket apology that none of them will ever hear. I am sorry that I was such a pill to work with. It wasn't because I didn't like you. I just honestly had no idea what I was doing. But no, I did not speed up the lyrics. I feel the unattainable perfect. I feel I like the unattainable perfect concept that infatuation feels like. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying, Leona, and I agree with it. I agree with it to an extent. Are you able to play Downtown Drizzle still? Says Onichan. I'm not actually Onichan, and a little peek behind the veil of my music writing process. I was never able to play Downtown Drizzle. I was never able to play that song. That song was a song that I made on my laptop, and I like clicked out the chords on the mouse. I don't even know where to start. If it came to, well, I do know exactly where to start, but I haven't started there. I would need to listen to it and kind of learn it by ear. But I do feel like Oni-chan. It's a gorgeous song. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for liking that song. Thank you for even listening to that song. I feel like there is a common trend. Common trend. Maybe that's redundant. There is a trend with people who like my music, but specifically like it from about 6 years ago, 6 to 5 years ago. They might not know. Maybe they're discovering it just now. Maybe they just heard Bon Bon. They're like, yo, this song's sick. Can you play this? But for me, those songs are very old. And I don't even play them live. Like when I go out to shows, I'm not playing Downtown Drizzle. I don't even hear that song. I haven't heard Downtown Drizzle played in at least like all the way through at least 2 years, maybe three. Now rose milk is interesting, right, Oni-chan? Oh, rose milk. Wanna know a secret about rose milk? I made rose milk as a compilation for somebody who went by Gaxel. I feel okay saying this and being a little bit transparent about this because it was a long time ago, and me and Gaxel do not talk anymore. But I feel like we're still homies, if that makes sense. Anyways, on with the story. He said, "Hey Omni, can you make me a song for this compilation?" And I said, "Absolutely, I can. I'm a freaking songwriting machine." And he said, "Okay, songs due on such and such a date. I don't remember the date." And then I put that date in my phone, like, oh, on so and so and so and so, make sure to have this thing done by for Gaxel. Um, and I had just gotten into a relationship with a person. I love I love trying to choose my words carefully, so like not to be anyway incriminating. I had started a relationship with another human being, and yeah, I got distracted because I was like, you know, stupid and in love and irresponsible. So I also was working a full time job at the time. So I was working all day. I would come home. I'd hang out with homie. And I would go work all day, and I would come out and hang out with homie. And then before I knew it, I remember sitting in this exact spot, and um, my said partner was on my bed, and my phone went off, and I was like looking out the window because the ice cream truck was here, and I remember them saying, "Hey, I think someone's calling you," and I was like, "Oh, what does it say on the screen?" And they were like, "Oh, it says song due for Gaxel today," and I was like, "What?" And I was like, "No, that's not due until such and such a date," and they were like, "Yeah, that's today." And I was like, "Oh crap. Okay. Do I have any like whips that I can like quickly like butter up and then send like late tonight?" And I didn't because I had recently sent out all my demos because that's the thing that I used to do. And then um, my friend who was friends with me and my ex at the time was like, why don't you just like play piano and send that in? And I was like, because you can't do that. I was like, all of my music, it's got like these dogs barking and it has like a bop to it. There's like a lot of stuff. I can't just play piano and send that into him. That's not going to work. That's not a song. And they were like, well, people like your piano playing. Just honestly, just play piano for a few minutes, and then I don't know, like chop it up and like move it around and mix that, then send that in. And I was like, okay, all right, fine. And I remember playing. I think it was these chords. It was actually these chords. I'm surprised I remember that. But it was just those chords. And then I remember recording that, and I was like, they sound too plain. But if I space out the notes and like fill out notes, it'll make it sound like it's more full. And then the like, the that part. No. No. Sorry. That's all the song really is. And then if you listen to the second half of the song, I just took those earlier ingredients and I chopped them up. And there's a voice on it, which I'm, which is not my ex. The voice on it is my friend. The like voice that comes in the second half of it. And um, yeah, I sent that into the compilation, and Gaxel was like, "Whoa, this is great!" Like I didn't. I was expecting like super cute and energetic stuff. Like I didn't know you can make chill stuff. Like this is really good. A lot of like lo-fi hip hop fans will like this, and I was like, that's not lo-fi hip hop. People will know that's not lo-fi hip hop, and you know what? Nobody Nobody knew it wasn't lo-fi hip hop. Yaxel was right. Everybody just assumed it was lo-fi hip hop, and they're like, "Sick! This is like Nuja Bass." Throw this on for I don't know 50 minutes while I study for my SATs. I thought that it was going to be a flop, but people actually really liked that song, which I wrote in a panic while the ice cream truck was blaring in the background. Um, and that's my rose milk story. And I called it rose milk because that was the my like go-to order at the time from a boba shop called Boba 7. I used to get rose milk tea, and wow, wow. Um, and yeah, and that compilation got taken down off of most platforms. I ended up breaking up with the person I was dating, and the friend that was like, "Yo, you should just play piano." They are gone from my life forever. And with that song also being taken down, it's like that whole thing never happened. But yeah, thank you for remembering that. I don't know. I kind of I kind of wish that I had re-recorded Rose Milk and included it on Lush Stream since the compilation got taken down, but I wasn't able to do it. Cyber is right. A lot of the best things are made very quick. I've spent a long time on some tracks that have done numbers like 1/million. Me and Ehi spent almost 2 years making that song. And then there's been songs like Coliseum or Rose Milk that do really, really well when I spent, just a couple hours on them. And something to think about, something to think about. Effort doesn't necessarily create success. Maybe feeling does, connection does. But yeah, I used to procrastinate a lot of things. That's fortunately not me anymore. Well, it is. It is. I've just compartmentalized what I procrastinate. Right now, I don't procrastinate things that are going to get me money. I.e., that compilation did make me money. So, shouts out to Gaxel. Shouts out. Unfortunately, Gaxel did not renew the license for that music, so it has since been obliterated. It's now in the shadow realm, and I cannot get it back because I, being kind of young and dumb, sold my licenses to people. Because I used to make so many songs. Guys, don't be like me. Hey guys, it's me, Omni. Learn from my mistakes. When I was younger, but a wee bub, I would say 5 songs a day. Not unlike me now, actually, but I used to release all 5 of them like a fool. And so I would write a lot of songs. And then I would just like people would be like, "Hey man, you want to write a song together?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, got you, buddy." And I would send like some homie a beat, not even a homie, some internet homie a beat, and they would like rap on it, put it up on their page, and then that was the end of that. And I would do that constantly, And then once I got to a certain point where I was like, oh, I can start charging for this? Whoa. I would start charging people. But I would never hold on to my licenses and royalties in publishing. And uh, in 2017, which was like my probably my busiest year. I'm gonna lump 2017 and 2018 together. My busiest 2 years. Physically, I was just like constantly flying everywhere and doing stuff. Couldn't even stream regularly. I think, hey Sam. I couldn't even stream regularly. It was very busy. During those times, a lot of those songs ended up getting used in things. And I remember thinking like, oh, I know this song. Or I would like hear a song in an ad and I was like, hey, that's my song. I made that. And then like way after the fact, I was like, wait, how do I make money off of this? And it's like, no, there will be none of that. You gave up the right to make money off of this. So basically all I'm saying is if you're an artist, please make sure you own all your stuff. I feel like that's kind of like the whole narrative of like the past 5 years is like artists getting screwed over or like artists like losing ownership of their royalties or their publishing. Please make sure you own your stuff, even if you're small and you think your stuff sounds like trash, because you just never know. You never know. I've heard my music in so many things that some things have made me really happy. For example, there was a Funimation like bump that was promoting all of the new anime for the season. My music was in that, and I was like, oh, that's sick, and I actually got paid for that, and it was really cool. But then I've also seen my music in like, like Facebook ads and stuff like that, and I track it back enough, and I'm like, oh yeah, I guess they can just do that because I wasn't careful years ago. But I'm a little bit smarter now when it comes to legalities and stuff like that. Um, I don't think I've heard Rose Milk Tea before, now that I think about it. Oh. Word up, Cyber. Yeah, it's an elusive tune, isn't it? How do you make sure you own your stuff, says Sam Tidbits. Sammy Sam. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here because most of the people here are not musicians and aren't going to find any of this information useful. But there's a thing called ASCAP. ASCAP. I mean, it costs money. I think it costs like $100 for like a year subscription, but for somebody like me that puts out roughly 30 to 40 tracks a year and puts a lot of things into like licensed publishing libraries, it's very useful to me. But even if you're just an artist that's going to be putting out albums, I would recommend getting an ASCAP. Obviously, if you're signed by a big label, they will have all that stuff made for you, but if you're an independent, definitely do that stuff yourself. Because not only does it make it easier if a company wants to use your music in, like, I don't know, a CW TV show or a movie or a commercial, it makes it easier for them to get in contact with you, because when those businesses are going and looking for music to find, that's what they're looking through. They're looking through official ASCAP stuff. They're not like looking on SoundCloud. So putting your music there helps you, and it also makes sure that you are able to take legal action if somebody just like nabs your tune without your consent. That's all I'll say on that, but yeah, look up ASCAP. Oni-chan says, I remember on Instagram before you dropped signals, you were always playing Winter Hearts. Oh, and it's the solid times I remember. Wow. Yeah, wow. Oh. Somebody said something yesterday that made me really happy too. I don't know why that made me so happy. I think because a lot of people don't understand, a lot of the songs that I make have a really long lifespan, right? So for example, uh, quarantine I put up yesterday, the one called Old Enough, the opening chords of it are so that's the chord progression of it, and then it starts over. But if you listen to that and you've been in a lot of the streams, you've heard a lot of those things before. For example, this used to be a piece that I would play a lot in Spring Street for the old. That's how I would get to the old bridge before I changed the bridge. And then you know that the first chord in Old Enough, the quarantine from yesterday, this one, that first one, that is the what I was always referring to as the K-drama chord. That was the K-drama chord that I would play a lot in the streams. And so a lot of these things I'm usually not just pulling out of thin air. Usually they have like little bits and pieces and crumbs that have been laid in the groundwork of my streams and my improvs, or even my recorded release material. I'll have little pieces featured in it. For example, if you listen to the Steve Harvey Wants Everybody to Become a Millionaire for Making Chicken video, that's a very long title. But I have a video where I like sample Steve Harvey and I make a fun little like bossa nova bop out of it. That just wholesale takes pieces from Union Station, my song Union Station. There's a part in the Steve Harvey song where it goes. Sorry. And then in Union Station, there's a part that goes. What is this next part after that? What is the next part after that? I forgot it. I forgot it. Doesn't matter. I guess it doesn't matter. I know I get there somehow. Anyways. This example fell apart. It fell on its head. But the point is, I'll take a lot of pieces from other things. And it makes me happy when other people realize that those pieces existed. When somebody comments on like a YouTube video, hey, I recognize this from that. Or hey, isn't this the same chord progression from Key Lime? I like that. And you're right. I used to play all of the Signal songs in streams constantly. Those were like stream exclusives. People would say, oh, I really like Winter Heart. You should release this song. And I was always a little bit hesitant to release the song on each one because a lot of my music up till then was very electronic, and I didn't want to jar and disappoint people by putting out a body of work that was just this weird, like, beboppy jazz, happy, upright piano sound. And after being, I don't know if I want to use the term bullied or encouraged or, like, nagged by people in the stream long enough, I eventually did record them and release them as the EP Signals. Some people liked it, some people didn't like it, as I suspected, but it's out and exists, and I feel happy that I at least stuck with it and saw it through. So thank you, Oni-chan, if you were one of the people in those streams that was telling me to release that. I do appreciate that. Because if I didn't release it, maybe I would have forgotten a lot of these songs. Maybe I would have forgotten. I definitely would have forgotten freaking this one, the one that Isadora likes. I would have forgotten a lot of those things. Montana. Ugh. I love the word Montana. I gotta figure out what that word means. Anyways, Montana says, who is your musical inspirations? Who is your music inspirations? Who are your music inspirations? Who are your inspirations in music? That's hard. That is hard, Montana. I need to know a few. I have some follow-up questions for you in that question, because that's a good question, but I have some follow-ups. Do you mean who is a inspiration in music professionally, like their career trajectory I appreciate? Do you mean sonically, like specifically their sounds? Do you mean the instruments they play? I don't know. Because I'm trying to make the answer to this question not be 30 minutes long, and with the way that that's worded, I'm going to give a very long and wordy answer to that. I don't want to do that. Sam says, I was showing some of your stuff to my sister. We were both still amazed by your chord changes. Oh, thanks, Sam. I appreciate that. I don't really know what I'm doing, so I always take compliments like that pretty highly when people seem impressed with what I'm doing, because I don't know what it is. Oh, man. Leftover curry, day 3. Still delicious, says Ava. Oh, yeah. Curry holds very well. Oh, my God. That sounds delicious right now. I think I might... I think I might do something really wild. I think I might go all the way to Koreatown today to get curry. I just, like, really want curry. And yeah, I think I might drive all the way to Koreatown. Anyways, Maddie says, yum, Ava. What type of curry? Hopefully delicious curry. It's Japanese-style curry, which is exactly what I would be driving all the way to Koreatown to get. Yes. Yes, absolutely. I love Japanese curry. Okay. That sounds amazing. I want to make curry now. Everybody make curry. What was I talking about? Oh, Mar Montana's question. Mar Montana has not followed up with my counter question, so as not to be dismissive, I'm going to choose one question within that to answer. Say who are my musical inspirations. I'm going to go the lowest common denominator and say that you meant sonically. Like when I make a song, who am I channeling in music? That question is very difficult because I try not to focus on any one. Um, I try not to focus on any one inspiration point. Now, if we listen to songs, like if we listen to certain things that I played, especially when it comes to Rhodes piano, for example, the thing that I just played from the Steve Harvey. Those things are very like bossa nova in their inspirations, right? It takes a lot of cues from bossa nova. And if you listen to me play enough, you'll actually hear me. You'll actually hear me use bossa nova rhythms in songs that I've already released, just to change things up a bit while I'm playing them. For example, if you know the song "I Miss You," it goes like that. But occasionally, when I'm playing that in the stream, I'll go. That's a bossa nova rhythm, or that's a rhythm that I got from bossa nova. Now, I can't name specific artists that gave me that, but there was a time in my life where I did listen to a lot of bossa nova. I listened to Babel, um, uh, Gilberto. I listened to the entire Gilberto family actually. So there's a lot of that. Stan Getz is really good. These are like not hidden gems. These are not deep cuts in bossa nova. This is very surface level bossa nova, and so I would say that I take that inspiration kind of and put it in the toolkit when I'm making music. And if you listen to some of my music, you'll hear some bossa nova sounds come out, but that's not necessarily where I'm taking the majority of my inspiration. The short answer to your very, very good question is just I don't take any inspiration from any particular musicians. I listen to music, I try to take in everything that I can get, and I try to repurpose it where I can, where it makes sense. You know, whether that person is John Williams and Hans Zimmer, the more score side, or whether it's a lot of like Flying Lotus, Thundercat, Igloo Ghost, a lot of the whole like Brain Feeder Camp, Daedalus, like more beat centric side. If it's just straight up bebop piano, like Thelonious Monk type stuff, I don't know. But I wouldn't say Montana that there is an artist or even like a small grouping of artists that I take a lot of inspiration from. Um, with that, I'm going to start going over news because I can see. Oh wait, Alpha says Flying Lotus is my all-time favorite artist. Thank you, Alpha. Sometimes I feel like I'm talking to myself. I don't know where Montana went, but they started answering their question, and I felt like they disappeared. But thank you, Alpha. I think Flying Lotus. I'm gonna say a few words about Flying Lotus, then move on. Flying Lotus is somebody that I discovered far too early, and when I say discovered, I mean heard. Right? Like I heard Flying Lotus in the same way that I heard Daedalus, which is the same way that I heard a lot of the Brain Feeder people, which is that I was a kid and I was looking at TV, and Adult Swim used to have bumps. I think they still do, but I don't watch Adult Swim. Adult Swim would have bumps. And if you're unfamiliar with a bump, what a bump is, it's basically what they use on TV and in programming when the ad time has run out, but they can't show the show. They can't show programming again yet. Back in the day, they used to use a test pattern during this time. Um, After a while, it turned into truncated commercials. Like they would have like these little tiny ad spots, or they would have a little bump where it's like Family Matters will be right back. Remember those? Remember a bump where it would just you would get excited because you think the show's back, but it's not. It's just a little thing that's like The Simpsons will be right like. Stay tuned. Full House will be right back. Like those things, they used to have bumps. And a bump, it's literally just a bump time forward to meet programming schedules. So Adult Swim would also have bumps, but their bumps were very unorthodox, and usually that it was just a black screen with white text, and it would have maybe a joke or maybe some like stupid message, and it would have music playing in the background. The music was never credited on screen. Number one. Number two, Shazam did not exist back then, so you couldn't like look it up if you tried. And three, there was no database of all the songs that were used in bumps. So if you were a kid and you were looking at like anime or something like that on Adult Swim, you would quickly hear like 8 seconds of a Daedalus track or a Flying Lotus track or a Gold Panda song or an Igloo Ghost song or a Daedalus song, and you would be like, what the heck was that? Like, that was either really cool or that was really whack. I don't know, but I can't figure out what song that was. That was my first introduction to Flying Lotus. Of course, I didn't know his name was Flying Lotus. I didn't even know it was a he or who made the music, but that was the first time I heard that music. And after time went by and I was able to kind of source a lot of that stuff, I discovered Flying Lotus and then backtracked and was able to figure out that he was on a lot of those Adult Swim bumps. And so I think I had that connection to Flying Lotus, and that like you clearly like Flying Lotus a lot. I wouldn't say that I'm like a Flying Lotus stan or a fanboy, but Flying Lotus for a lot of artists. Oh God, Jesus! I knew this question was gonna put me in a long answer. Yeah, the Gold Panda bumps were always amazing with those. I think that the interesting thing about Flying Lotus is I was not a musician yet. Obviously, I didn't start music until I left high school. Seriously, well, not even seriously. No, I just didn't really start. I was like messing around with keyboard, but I didn't have a song. I never made a song until after I graduated. And so, hearing Flying Lotus at that time, I was just I didn't understand what he was doing. Like, how is he making these sounds? I have a keyboard. How come my keyboard can't make those sounds? Where is he getting those drum sounds? I hadn't even seen a DAW yet, so I didn't know anything. And so Flying Lotus was kind of like a magic worker. I just didn't get it. But something interesting about Flying Lotus for me at that time was he was one of the first artists who was making hip hop stuff that sounded, for lack of a better term, video gamey. It sounded very like adjacent to video game culture and like nerd culture and the stuff that I liked visually, but sonically it had like its tones, undertones, and like hip hop, and that was like me. That was my whole upbringing, was just being like a very hip hop centric individual, very like hood block boy, but also being like into freaking Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z. And sonically, I felt represented in Flying Lotus's music, so I liked his music a lot for that. Now, I mean, anytime you turn a corner, you're gonna run into a video game hip hop amalgamation, but at the time it was pretty rare. And so, yeah, the Adult Swim bumps were pretty huge for me as a youngster. And now, having like met and talked to Flying Lotus, having met and talked to Thundercat, like knowing Daedalus and like knowing a lot of these people, like having played shows with Igloo Ghost, it's really interesting because I feel like I've come full circle from like kid who has no idea how DAWs work and hearing their music and being like confused to being like, now I hear their music and I know exactly, like I can see the project file, I know what's happening. And I think that I haven't really told any of them that. I did tell Daedalus that. I think I did, like, I played a show with Daedalus on New Year's Day, and I kind of told him, like, yo, like, I'm not trying to weird you out, I don't want to, like, make this weird for you, but, like, I listened to your music before I knew how to make music, and that was, like, that was, like, really wild for me. Anyways, we should start going over news. I have a new song out called The View. It's one of the first songs that I've written about infatuation in a very long time, and it's real. The infatuation is real, Liana. It's not fake infatuation like your eyes or anything else from Luxury. Get out of here, freaking flies. So go listen to that song, please, if you can. I worked really hard on it, and who knows when another Omni Boy song may come out. So go listen to that. I also have 2 EPs. One's called Quick Breath, the other one's called Ego Death. You can hear them on Bandcamp, SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Google Play, Amazon MP3, Tidal, Group, Deezer, Pandora, Napster, and YouTube. While you're on YouTube, you should probably check out my Quarantine series because I work very, very hard on it. I can't explain to you how hard I work on it. I had this realization yesterday before I put it up, right? Because I was like rendering it, whatever, it's the same thing, right? I was rendering the video, making sure that it went on all platforms. And I was like, This is a thing that um, makes me zero money and it gets me zero clout. Nobody really cares about the quarantines thing. You guys do, but as far as like overall Omniboy fans generally are like, when's the Spotify release, or I don't care about it. If I'm like, yo, I'm doing a piano stream, they're like, Spotify or don't talk to me. And I'm like, oh, I have like a new video up, they're like, Spotify or don't talk to me, homie. But like, if it's not a real music release, they don't care about it. And so nobody really cares about the quarantine series, except for me and hopefully you lot do. But when I was working on it, I was like, I work harder on this thing than I do on some things that actually make money and like quote unquote matter in the grand scheme of like social media and stuff like that. And I'm glad. At first, I was like upset by this, but I think that in 2020, everybody's trying to escape. I'll say this and I promise I'll wrap it up. Everybody's to escape in 2020. Ooh. Oh, that sounded cooler to me the first time I played it. Anyways, everybody's trying to escape in 2020, and whether that's escaping into the future, people are trying to like, oh, Coachella 2021, I can't wait, or like people are trying to escape. People are trying to already live in next year, or people are reverting like real hard, where they're like, yo, remember 2016? Remember Jack LA? Remember the scene? We got to get the gang back together again. Like there's people that are either going in the past, they're going in the future. Nobody wants to be in the present right now. It's not the dopest time, so everybody's trying to cope any way they can. Pause on that. Nicholas asked if I have TikTok. I do not have TikTok. Um, I do not have TikTok, but maybe I'll get it. Who knows, Nicholas? Maybe I'll get it. I don't feel like my videos would do well on TikTok because I feel like they're too long. I feel like they're 2 minutes long, and TikTok usually is like it is very short attention span type videos. But I don't want to say anything definitively because again I don't know TikTok very well because I don't have one. But maybe I will consider getting one and forwarding the quarantines there into the future. Thank you for this suggestion, Nicholas. I actually do appreciate it. People don't want to be in this timeline, so they're trying to escape to other timelines. They want to be in the future, they wanted to be in the past. Usually people are trying to escape about 4 years in the past because there's a lot of us in the scene or in the world have observed Summer 16 was the last good time in American history. And when I mean good time, a lot of people refer to Summer 16 because that was before Trump got elected. A lot of people refer to Summer 16 because a lot of people were kind of coming into their own creatively. It was a kind of a good time for the internet. We had a decent president, whatever. Then, so fall 16 started like the dark times where it's like we got a new president that people weren't particularly fond of. And then 4 years later, we are in an election year again, and we're currently dealing with a pandemic. So it's kind of been a bad 4 years generally. But that being said, I feel like I have gone even further back into 2014. I've gone back to Arizona, and I'll say to explain briefly, when I was in Arizona, I used to just do things because they were fun. I did my work, right? I did my work. I went to work all day. I came home, and then I just made music for fun, and I put it up online. And I didn't care like how many likes it was getting or what the timeline was saying about it. I kind of just enjoyed making weird things. And later on down the road, I was able to look back on those weird things and go, huh, like I'm glad I did these because I would never be able to do those now. Right now, I care too much about like my brand or consistency or my relevance or the algorithm and my engagement and stuff like that. It's really hard. So I feel like I've gone all the way back to 2014 where now I'm just putting stuff up in it. I like legit do not care how well it performs. I'm just like, I just like it. And I think that whenever, 2021, 2022 comes, I'll be able to look back on the quarantines and go like, oh, this was like really cool. I'm glad that I did this because it offered me this opportunity. Something to try to not lose sight of is that a lot of the things that you're doing now as an artist are probably going to open up opportunities if you just stay the course. A lot of the stupid things I did that didn't make sense at the time are the reasons I'm able to be where I am now, where I'm like a full-time musician. So, things to think about. Maddie says, we had Pokemon Go. Summer 16. Ooh, ooh. Guys, don't let me talk about Summer 16. We had a lot of things. I particularly had a lot of things. Check out Sam Wasabi, says Nicholas. TikTok, his vids are around 1 to 2 minutes. I feel like you do great there. I feel Nicholas. Also, Sean Wasabi is, I don't know how well you know me, but I'm very familiar with Sean Wasabi's TikTok. Sean Wasabi is actually my neighbor, and we've been friends for about 7 years. But I feel like Sean Wasabi's videos and my videos are distinctly different. They have a very different element, which I won't go too deep into right now because I don't want to get dragged into another very long pedantic rant. But yes, I am familiar with Sean Wasabi's videos on TikTok. Something to also keep in note, Nicholas, is that, and I'll say this and I will move on. Sean Wasabi's videos are spectacle, and they also are floating off of the weight of somebody who has an insane amount of followers on like YouTube and Twitter. So Sean Wasabi going over to TikTok isn't exactly planting a seed on TikTok. It's kind of like when somebody was a big Vine star and they moved to YouTube and then like hit like I don't know like 50,000 subscribers in like a weekend. It's that kind of thing. But I'm gonna say Maddie says I feel like I haven't been looking in the past or the future. I'm just like disassociating in the present. That's pretty dope. It's hard to see the future when everything's so bleak and sucky. For sure, Cyber. I agree. I agree with both of y'all. I'm definitely retreating to the past. This time it's like a decade to review. Like a decade in review for me. Yeah, I think I'm not necessarily reverting to the past. I mean, reverting to the past always sounds bad. I'm just saying that I'm reverting to the past and my relationship with the internet. Eventually, I became the thing. I became the person who was like, I treated the internet as if it mattered. You know when you think back to, as if it mattered. You know when you think back to high school. I'm gonna start playing Hush Hour now. You know when you think back to high school, and you're like, oh, if I was so miserable. And again, I'm projecting here, so this might not be everybody's experience in high school. But I remember thinking back to high school and thinking about all the times that I was miserable and having distance from high school. I was like, I wish I could go in the past and tell myself none of that crap actually mattered. None of these people mattered. You're gonna go away, and you're hardly gonna see most of these people again anyway. So just chill. I think that that's the way I used to look at the internet. And then eventually something happened, and all of a sudden the internet mattered, and I didn't want to post this photo of me because it didn't make sense, and I didn't want to post this song because it wasn't consistent with my last four songs, and I didn't want to add this person because that would be a bad look for me if I was following so and so's ex on the internet. It was weird. It happened very gradually, but suddenly I became somebody that cared a lot about the internet and the social politics that lied there within. And I feel like mentally I'm reverting back to looking at the internet and going like, it's like high school. None of this matters. It doesn't matter if your tweet does well. Who cares? It, like, my bills are paid and I'm like doing what I love, which is like square, not even square one. That's like square gold. That's like the place where I want it to be. So now I can just kind of like goof off on the internet when I want to. And it, honestly, it's pretty liberating. Oh man. Oh crap. Oh yeah, the picture of me on top of Sean. Yeah, that's a very old photo. Somebody else posted that photo. Somebody else posted that photo, and I just ripped it from their account because I was like, oh my god, that's me. And it's like my hair wasn't in twists yet. My hair was just like in that weird loose fro that I used to have, and it's like me, and it's Sean, and it's Mark Rodito, and it's like Arianor. It's like Tom, only Tom, who's on Quick Breath. It's just like me and a lot of my old friends hanging out in Little Tokyo in a karaoke bar, and it's like that picture. God, that picture. That picture's so weird because none of those people talk anymore. I don't mean to bum anybody out, but like me, nobody in that room. Like me and Tom still talk every now and then. I mean, we have a song together, but like not like that. Not like we used to. Like everybody used to be so tight, and yeah, that picture is both uplifting and also deeply troubling. Hey everyone, whether you're looking forward to the future or reminiscing in the past, have a wishful Wednesday, says Maddie. Thank you, Maddie, for that. Wednesday's going to be good today. I think I'm going to go on a little bit of a trip. Yes, I'm going to go on a trip because yesterday I started back up at work and my brain hurts. My brain hurts, and because of quarantine, since I'm inside all the time, I haven't stopped. I haven't stopped making music. I kind of want to like not make music today. I don't know where I can go, right? Maybe I'll go, I don't know. I'll go find some Japanese curry somewhere and then squat and eat it. I've gotten into this habit. I'm trying to get a good squat going. I'm trying to get a good squat going. Because I'm an idiot and I have a Samsung TV and it shows me constant Korean dramas. And because of like cultural differences, the Asian people can squat very well. And because Americans spend most of their time sitting on chairs and toilets, we are the muscles that we need to squat get gradually weaker being an American over time. But since it's kind of in the culture of a lot of Asian countries to still squat while doing things, they keep it up. And I look at old photos of myself when I was a kid, because every kid squats. Like most kid knows how to squat. I used to squat a lot when I was a kid, and I was like, I want to get that back up. I was like eating food, like I got ramen to go from this place called Kopan down the street, like spicy ramen. I was like squatting and eating it, and I was like, this feels natural. This feels normal. So maybe that's what I'll do today. I'll go down and get some like Japanese curry and squat and eat it in an alley somewhere, like a good human. Remember the good times and appreciate the ways people have made you better. Wow, what a good message, Cyber. Liana says, "Enjoy life, y'all. It's all we got." Why is everybody? What is it? Is everybody dying after the stream? Why is everybody talking like this? Is this the last time I'm gonna see all you guys? Thank you as always, guys, for being respectful to me and polite to one another. Tomorrow is supposed to be the live production stream. I don't know if it'll work because I don't want to work on it today, and tomorrow I won't have time to work on it because it'll be in the morning. But if I get it working, we will see it. It might be really buggy, guys, because it's just my home internet is really bad. Like, I don't know if it's the quarantine and everybody's like on it, or I don't know if it's just Spectrum sucks everywhere, but my internet in my house has been so incredibly bad for the past few days that I feel like if I do a live production stream on like OBS to YouTube, it is going to chug. It's going to be a nightmare. And so I don't really want to do it and have a bad stream. So I'm going to do a test 1:30 stream. Tomorrow's 1:30 production stream. It's going to be a test. If it is really bad and nigh unwatchable, I am just going to delete it and I'm going to do another 1:30 the following day. And we'll get stuck in like a Groundhog Day thing like we did when my streams were repeatedly deleted. But hopefully I get to see you guys tomorrow for that. But yeah, that's it. Again, thank you everybody for being respectful to me and polite to each other. I do appreciate that you guys have some respect for each other, and that does help the stream a lot. You guys don't know it. Maybe you guys don't know it, but if you've been in one of my Periscope streams, it's important. It's very important. And even though sometimes in the stream I feel like I'm a ghost, there's a certain thing like you know when you have a birthday party and all your friends are getting along so well that you feel like it's not your birthday party anymore. And it's like, well, should I just leave? Sometimes I'll feel like a ghost on the stream because people are getting along so well. But I would much rather feel like a ghost because people are like talking about something cool than like arguing with each other. Because I swear to God, in the Periscope streams, people just straight up fight each other. I'm like sitting here playing, like trying to play the bridge to Spring Street, and people are like calling each other like profanities and like racist terms. So I'm glad to not see slurs in the chat. Anyways, goodbye everybody. Goodbye. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. I'm gonna go get some grub, play through Contra. Play some Contra. There we go. Oh, and go listen to Old Enough. I worked really hard on it. Abo, guys. Abo.